speaking a little bit to Cheryl's point, she makes a good point. You know, there are going to be people that are happy going to Central, going to West, and I just want to just speak a little bit to, I think, the people that are caught in the middle, and those are the teachers that are at Central and West. There are some really good teachers at both Central and West. There's a lot of us in this room that put kids through Central or West already. Very happy with the education our kids have. They're flourishing in college right now. And our concern is the writing is on the wall right now with this budget, because my youngest son is not going to get that same quality education if I read what's going on in the school system. They're not supporting their teachers. And you all know that working in a nice, calm working environment where you're well paid and you're respected, you're going to produce better than you are in an environment where you're given a pink slip every year, and then you're lucky to have your job at the end of that cycle. And to see your peers get laid off, or to see your peers constantly talking about, I am done with this district, I'm going over here, where they don't do this to us every year. That is what's going on internally in those schools. That's our concern. So it's not about the teachers and the job they've done in the past, it's what they have to work with going forward, and the writing is on the wall with the budget and what the mayor is doing in that city.
Dave Levesque, 29 Moore Road. We talk about this letter. When does Manchester submit a bill for us? When do we have to pay either tuition or capital improvement? What's that date?
We get that twice a year, and it's typically, we have our first bill for tuition sometime in November. We do a reconciliation of that bill before we pay it, so sometimes we don't pay it until December or early January, but we usually see the bill by November.
Is it within the board's right to withhold payment? Is it within this body's right to withhold a tuition payment? Okay. I guess my point is, if they're not coming to the table and being partners, why are we sending money? And I would ask the board to withhold payment. And perhaps that's other legal issues down the road, but we're 2 weeks past the deadline for enrollment. Good for you for filing the right to know. I think this is crazy. So I say, if the board has its right, with the consultation of the attorney at some point, I say withhold payment. Don't send them any money until they at least work with us on looking at this. We're cash cows, they need our money. It's already been determined. They're hanging on to us. I say don't cut a check, don't put us in a bad spot, but don't cut a check until they want to talk. And that might mean we have to wait till November to get our class number unless we win on the right to know. Thank you.
I will say the board hasn't taken any action on it, but I think I'm safe in saying that the administration won't send out any payments without talking to the board.
If I could comment too, I'd like to be fair in the sense that they have invited us to a meeting to have a discussion. They have appropriated some money to hire teachers to alleviate class sizes somewhat. Whether that's adequate or not, frankly, I want to see the numbers because I know there has been some effort toward that. But is that enough? Personally, I don't think it is, but I really want to look at the numbers and give them a chance. But I do want to say that they did invite us. I was the one that made the motion that I wanted to come here before I went there. So any delay in us meeting with them is partially my fault because I wanted to meet with the community first before we went to Manchester. Thank you.
Anyone else?
So can we do like a summary? So your next step is what? We have a lot of things that we could do, but really your next step that you're going to do is tomorrow you're sending the discovery request, the right to know?
I'm personally interested in filing a right to know to get the numbers because I think that they should be out. So that's my own personal.
So that's your personal thing?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to take care of that personal.
If I
And the
could-
board can do what?
Well, if I could, we have an agenda item. We're continuing with our board meeting after this forum. We have an agenda item under old business, Manchester High School issues. And again, it has to be an action by the board, but my guess is we're going to direct in some fashion that the administration request those numbers again. In maybe a more official fashion. Again, I'm dancing a bit because the board has to take that action.
As a resident, I would find that I can find out what your next step is that you decided tonight, tomorrow. And then what if I don't like it? Then I have to wait for me to 2 weeks again and come back and say, can you please send the letter? And you guys could really say at that point, well, now we're doing this.
Well, we're speculating. Again, I don't know how that discussion's going to go, but we are going to have that discussion. And you're more than welcome to stay, so. Anyone else? Again, I don't mean to sound like I'm dancing around the issues. I just don't know.
It sounds like we have great ideas, but we don't really have a
I
plan.
do have a question. It's really might not be put together well, but when you meet with Manchester, obviously they have found some funding to hire back teachers and try to fix the class sizes right now and try to fix some of the problems that are going on. And they have found this money through, someone had said maybe healthcare money, I'm not quite sure. Obviously, it's a one-time thing. When you meet with Manchester, are some of your questions about their budget for next year and being already in debt for next year and how that's going to just put us back here again? Are these questions that are being put on the table? Yes, you fixed it right now, but look at what's going to happen come April when you have your budget vote and it fails again. We're going to be right here again. Does that make any sense? I don't have time to put my thoughts together, but these are my concerns. They've band-aided it. They found the money temporarily. So, okay, now our 8th graders are stuck going to Central, or as parents, when we find other options, then fine. But come their vote in the spring, again, they have no money again, even worse than they did this year. And here we are again for the fall. Only worse. Are these being discussed with Manchester as you talk about fixing it?
Well, I think Cheryl said it best. We want to do things, in tandem. So, again, speculating, the board could definitely take action to send that letter and still have those discussions with Manchester. Again, I'm speculating because the board has to take that action, but so we don't have to have one and then move to the next. Cheryl said it very, very well. Let's if we're going to move, let's move in a number of different areas at the same time.
I just think that right now the community wants that letter out because every day that goes by it gives them a chance to find more band-aids for a temporary fix. That's all.
If I may, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
I would welcome anyone to send me a question. My email address is on the school website. I would be more than glad to ask that question. Like I said before, getting elected up here, you don't put on the cone of knowledge and learn everything that's going on out there. I've learned so much from what people have asked me and informed me that I look to the community when I go to meet with Manchester about what some of these questions are in some of these situations. So please, by all means, send me an email. I'd be glad to take that with me when I go to meet with them. And it might end up being the question that really needs to be asked that I didn't think of. So.
Linda, 8 Anson Lane. When we're talking about breach and everyone's talking about classroom sizes, yes, I am concerned about classroom sizes, but I have a few other concerns that I have a Central graduated last year, happy, loved it. It's not the same school that it was. Meaning, Dr. Brennan, when he was here 2 weeks ago, how many courses have they eliminated? I believe the number was 90 classes. That is ridiculous. How can these kids go to a school and have the opportunities that these other kids have had that have graduated last year and the year before? It's ridiculous to think that they've lost that many classes because of the loss of the teachers. And the classes that they're losing are graduation requirements. There were 8 physical science teachers as of last year. There are 3. That is a 9th grade freshman class. That is a graduation requirement. 3 teachers cannot teach all those freshmen. So there's a huge number of freshmen that are not taking physical science, a graduation requirement. They are supposed to take it, according to Mr. Mayotte, sometime. Take it later. When? So those current 9th graders are now being put into a biology class, which is traditionally a 10th grade sophomore class. Great. When are they going to take physical science? As a sophomore? Well, the normal progression is biology, chemistry, which there's some variations, but it's very difficult once you get into that track. There is a natural progression of the way the classes are supposed to run. And they have to correlate with your math. Okay, so now you start getting and you start wiggling, it's not going to work. There has to be a correlation, and you're really not looking at the best interest of the student if you start messing with the order in how you take these classes. If you try to go back and take it later, it's a trickle-down effect, because what's going to happen to the incoming freshmen next year? Do you think there's going to be room in physical science next year for these freshmen? I don't think so. Not when you have all these sophomores who haven't taken it yet. They're now talking about maybe it won't even be a graduation requirement. So now we're going to lower the bar, and we're going to make that not a graduation requirement, maybe. When they take kneecaps as juniors, what do you think's on those kneecaps? A lot of physical science, earth science is on those kneecaps. They're not going to have the benefit of having that if they're not have taken the course yet. So there's a lot of other things. Now that's just one example of a really big concern of mine, in that no matter what size of the classroom is, it's the opportunity to be able to take the classes that they're supposed to take, that they're supposed to be a graduation requirement, not just, you know, I won't even call it an elective. So those are some of my concerns, that some of the basic things that they're supposed to be able to take when they're there, if they're not there and they're not available, how is that in the best interest of our students? Okay? And I've been very happy with Central. Like I said, I have a Central grad, got a great education there, but it's when you eliminate 90 courses, it's really difficult to get that same education for these incoming students. So, thank you.
My name is Tom Parnell. I live on Barbary Street. I think it's pretty obvious, listening to all the facts here, that Manchester's working in a patchwork to solve these problems. It's not in the best interest. I think up until now, there's some other folks here who have said that their kids have gotten a great education and they would continue to encourage sending their own kids there. I think that's an option we should keep open. And on that note, I would ask the school board to consider this. Take an aggressive posture. Manchester certainly has. I implore you guys, as our representatives, take an aggressive posture. All right? Act in kind. They've acted against us. It's time for us to act back. Take the approach. We're going to pull out. I don't think it's going to cost us $10 million. They don't want us there anyways. They don't want us there. If they do, they just want us there for the money. They haven't done anything in our best interest. So think about it from a negotiation. They want to send us to West. We can use that to our advantage. They already wanted to change the contract. Fine, let's change the contract. We'll send some of our kids. We have families that are volunteering to send their kids there. Let them keep sending their kids there. If that's the education they want, let's write a contract that's, we can send fewer kids. Let's go to the marketplace, and we'll include Manchester in our offer. We'll go to the marketplace and say, hey, we want to send some of our kids to Pinkerton. We want to send some of our kids to Bow. We even want to send some of our kids to Manchester still. It's in their best interest. They need to redistrict. We're a thorn in their side if they look at their redistricting. We're a thorn in their side. We're not. Why do you think they want us to come to the table to renegotiate the contract? Because we're adversely affecting their ability to redistrict. We need to use that to our advantage. So let's use that. Let's go back to that school district and say, we want to send our kids to where we want to send our kids. We want to send them to the best school available. And you guys aren't meeting that standard. But unfortunately, not everybody agrees with that. I respect that. Okay, I, for one, have one of those 8th graders that I love, and I want to send that child to the best school, okay? So that's why I'm here. But I think I would ask you to be aggressive, and let's take a look, think out of the box here. We've got all these options, we've got all this information to our advantage. That's what I ask. Thank you.
Anyone else? Going once? Okay, thank you. Appreciate all your comments tonight, and rest assured the board will be taking action, I'll say soon. And again, once we receive that information, the board will get together and make a determination on the next step. So, thank you. We can declare the high school forum closed at 8:35.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion for a 5-minute break.
I'll second.